Yo, what is up, guys? Uh, Quick little video today. As you can probably guess, it's based on, the second episode of the show I reviewed the first episode for. Anyway, Gundam GQuuuuuX. I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyway, yeah. So, second episode came out, and essentially, this is a flashback about where everything is and why everything is. So, general plot synopsis is this is like the what if Char stole the original Gundam. So, back in the original Mobile Suit Gundam, right? First episode, Zeon sneaks in to the colony and they try to steal the mobile suit and they fail. Amuro gets it, runs away. We did not see Amuro this episode, but we did see what would happen if Char just got into the mobile suit and kind of went crazy. And, well, simply put, it did not go well for the Earth Federation. So, yeah. Overall, it was a good episode, though. And I think it explored this premise very well. Obviously, it raises some very, very, very interesting questions, though, and depending on what Ono does, it can mess up the future of this show very much. But yeah, apart from that, you can't really, do some stuff. And what I'm saying by that is spoilers alert. But for the for the Gundam, they upgraded and they put in some sort of new thing that it basically evolves new type powers, I guess, or enhances them, right? And during one of the battles between the Earth Federation and Zeon, Char creates a giant swarm of light very similar to Char's counterattack while trying to stop something from falling on an important base. And, okay, the way the show is going, it makes it seem like Char is going to come back. Well, if Char comes back from that psychokinetic blast, then why can't Amuro come back from that psycho frame blast in the original timeline? Because, they're obviously paying homage to Char's counterattack and what happened between Amuro, Char, and all those other people, right? So it would be really weird if suddenly Char came back from this, but then in the original timeline it would raise the question of why hasn't Amuro come back? I hope that gets explored, because if Ano's gonna make this, and he's gonna do it, he really, really needs to be careful about that question. Because the Gundam timeline is already kind of weird, and we already have some weird stuff going on. I don't need another thing, right? But overall, I think it was very good. Obviously, you guys know me. Char is It's weird. Char is simultaneously one of my favorite and least favorite characters in Gundam. So, I think he's genuinely the most interesting protagonist. Protagonist is he's the most interesting character / protagonist to watch. But at the same time, he's pretty evil. And, I would say consistently not a terrible person, but just consistently on the darker side of characters. And, I tend to not really like those kind of characters, except from an entertainment standpoint. And I really do think Char is by far the most entertaining and interesting character in Mobile Suit Gundam's history, if I'm being real. And so to have him have an entire episode, which is basically his episode, it really does a lot, and it does overall enforce the quality of the show. So, while necessarily I think it was a little bit of a weird move to have an entire episode dedicated to just Char, on the other hand, it's an episode dedicated to Char. So, I don't think that was a good move for the actual TV show as a whole, simply due to the fact that this is only going to be 12 episodes long, so we need characters to have, decent progression. Hopefully. Maybe they won't, maybe it will work out just fine. But for now, 12 episodes, and one episode literally doesn't affect our current plot in any way, shape, or form. It just shows why and how we got here. Which, to be fair, if I'm being real, this is probably going to be my favorite episode of the season, but it is technically not a filler episode, but just an episode that I can see ending up causing the pacing of the rest of the show to be less favorable. And you guys all saw the joke of me last episode basically begging Anno to have a good ending. Well, in order to have a good ending, you need the proper amount of time to, well, end it. And if the ending feels a little rushed, we know which episode is going to get the finger pointed at it, and it's this one. And I know I'm making it sound kind of negative. That's my bad, if I'm being real. I really do like this episode. I think it's engaging. I think it's consistent. I think it's a great homage to the original Mobile Suit Gundam. Everything about the episode is good. It's just I'm very worried about what is going to happen around it. And overall, I would say that the episode delivers on quality and it delivers on its writing, but necessarily its score is probably going to change the most as an individual episode, depending on how far we are, basically depending on what episode I'm going to be reviewing at the time. So, for example, right now, I'm going to be real. I think it's an 8 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic episode, and I think it's really solid and good at pretty much everything. But let's say I get to episode 11 and I'm like, this feels rushed. I don't like how, the pacing is basically all over the place. I'm probably going to point at this episode. So I think even though it's an 8 right now, if this episode, I would say, screws over, is the best way to put it, the rest of the season, I would naturally lower the score. But as of right now, 8 out of 10, just because, simply put, as an actual standalone episode, it's genuinely awesome. And while it as episode 2 of a show might not be fantastic, it as an episode and an episode of television is great. And I genuinely think it's not only a good introduction, or I would argue an even better introduction into this show than the first episode. I would say it's actually a pretty decent introduction into Gundam as a whole. But you're never going to be watching episode 2 of a random show, right? So for that, even though it's a really good episode and provides a really good entrance into the series and the TV show, simply put, it's episode 2, So that's really what's holding it back. But it is an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5, if I'm feeling a little generous. But yeah. Anyway, that's my opinion. I really do want to hear your guys' opinion in the comments below. And also make sure to tell me how you guys feel about the Gundam design, because I'm not gonna lie, it's looking a little too Eva for my taste. Not to say that I dislike Eva. I like Eva. But I like a Gundam too. I don't like Evas in my Gundams. But anyway, yeah. That's enough dilly-dallying. I'm gonna go on and edit this video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Rox signing out.